Hey everybody, my name is Camille. Welcome to my channel. Here I make videos about applying to medical school, getting into medical school, and staying in medical school. Right now, I'm in the phase of staying in medical school. I just finished my second week of medical school. Right now it's Saturday. I spent the day just, you can see, studying all of this stuff. We have a bunch of content to be able to know for next Monday's exam. At my school we have every other week an exam, more or less, and so it's mid-August and we're studying for our second exam. Our first exam was kind of split with one class only, and so our next exam is a block exam of 3 classes in one exam. I want to say it's about 2 hours worth of an exam, and I don't really know how I feel about that right now, and the purpose of me doing this video is to kind of just check in. I want to note and document how I'm really feeling, because the first week of school is definitely different than the second week. The second week I feel like I'm gearing up to now have to take a bigger exam with more things. The first exam that I took was specific to my cell biology class, and so you know, I was able to focus on just one thing, and now it's more than just one thing. We have cell biology on the next exam, anatomy on the next exam, as well as, if I get this correct, it's the osteopathic manipulative medicine. So that is going to be interesting, just because it's like, the way I studied for my last exam is going to be completely different for how I study this exam. I can't really fall off of any subject, and that's really important because you want to make sure you're current, or at least like semi-knowledgeable, and I don't even know if that's the right word, like a little bit knowledgeable, like you have a small grasp or even a big grasp on what's been talked about in your classes. And it's really interesting because the curriculum that I am in right now, they try and weave like little pieces together. So as an osteopathic medical student, we learn about osteopathic manipulative medicine, and with that you have to know like what you're touching, whether that's the mastoid process or certain things like that. And that knowledge that you're supposed to know is basically the foundations of what you learn at the beginning of anatomy. So we learned anatomy first, and we had cell biology classes because that's where I had my first exam. Well, that's what I had my first exam on. And now we're like basically adding little bits of pieces of everything to all my classes. Like histo has a lot of like epithelial information that we're also learning in our cell biology class, and it's really a lot. But it's actually so much fun. Like I feel like I'm not overstimulated because this is what I've waited to do for so long, and I feel like if you pursue continuing education on some particular thing, whether you want to be a physical therapist, whether you want to be a chiropractor, whether you want to do dentistry, whether you want to get your PhD, it's something that you actually have interest in. And so learning anatomy and learning cell biology in terms of certain dysfunctions, as well as the normal function of certain mechanisms or processes in the body, it's like really, really interesting for me personally, because this is what I enjoy learning about, and like putting pieces together, as well as like looking at dysfunctions from what's supposed to be happening to what's not happening, or what is happening to what actually is the normal function of whether it's an enzyme or muscle movement, whatever it may be. And so it's really, really interesting. I feel like, and I had this conversation with one of my partners at school. We have partners for different classes, and one of them was saying that there's this, I don't know, just like unspoken understanding that medical school is like you trying to drink from a fire hydrant. Like basically the water and all the content is spewing towards you, but like you're just trying to take a sip, like you're just drinking to quench your thirst. But after talking to him and him talking to me about that it's not so much like that, because in a way, talking about that fire hydrant example, it's like all this stuff is being like spewed at you, and it's like there's this type of intensity with the, you know, onward spew of water. It's not really like medical school right now, at least, and I can only talk right now because I'm in my second week. Maybe 16 weeks in, this is not going to be like this at all, but right now it just feels like it's finals week every single week. There's a bunch of content that you have to know, kind of like the overarching themes, as well as like applications of it, as well as a few things that need, well, honestly, it's not even a few things. There's some things that are pretty in-depth of what you need to know, whether it's like enzymes and like steps of different mechanisms associated with those enzymes. But it just feels like finals week. It literally feels like finals week every single week. The things that you're learning right now are not things that you need to just forget about. There's things that have a broader application when you do end up practicing medicine, and when people come into you with, you know, certain problems with their nerves or certain problems with some of the symptoms that you can correlate to manifestations that happen within the body and happen within people's health. And so after hearing that perspective, I was like, wow, it's really not like drinking out of a fire hose. It's more so like it's just finals week every single week. Like, this is the crux of the content that you'll always need to know. And so it's very, very interesting. I'm actually having a very good time. Like I said before, like, this is content that I actually want to know. Like, I'm enjoying my education right now. I have lab where we go in. I have lectures online. We talk about professionalism. We talk about all these different things, which are very, very interesting, as well as pertinent to my career and like my next chapter in life. So right now I'm a medical student, and the goal is to become a physician. So just like sitting back and realizing that right now I'm in medical school, I have made it thus far, and I just gotta stay in it. I gotta pass my exams, which I did pass my first exam. I gotta stick with it. All of these things are just foundational things that you're gonna be layering on top of other things. And honestly, I'm having the best time. I feel like this is exactly where I need to be right now. Like, I don't even see myself doing anything else, because this is just so me in every way. And it's challenging, but it's also like really, really inspiring. And I'm just like extremely, extremely content. Like, that's the only way I could say it. But with that being said, not everything that I do is school, period. There's other things that I do, like going to the grocery store. I personally find it fun to go to the grocery store. So I have some types of ways that I kind of relax. I found myself within first week getting ready for this test on this past Monday. And so now, since I'm past the test, but also have a week until my next test, I'm trying to find a balance in how I am studying, how I am doing the things that I like to do, whether that's making sure I know the organization of materials, because the content that you learn in medical school, it all has a purpose. And so a lot of my teachers teach with learning objectives, and so you know what category a certain subject or topic is talking about, so much that you can relate it to the bigger picture. And then with school, you know, you're able to compartmentalize it and also categorize it. But with life, it's like, what do you actually like to do? What makes you happy? And I really enjoy cooking. I had a bunch of my friends here this weekend, and we just like had fun, but we also studied. I cooked for them, which is something I love to do. And today I painted my nails and I blew out my hair, and you know, I feel like Camille again. I guess at the beginning of the week felt like I just smelled like formaldehyde, but now I'm like, I'm good. And so it's definitely a balance. And I had a meeting with, you know, some of my advisors and some people academically at the school who could help me, and I feel like I'm on my way to finding my footing, because, you know, everyone studies differently, everyone understands information differently. There's a lot of resources at my school that allow me to find a way that I learn best. And going into medical school, I think that might be one of the hardest things to acclimate to and to understand and process. And then after you do that, apply and continue, because there's so much being thrown at you and you just need to keep on it. I've been using Anki study-wise to understand the content and also make sure that I remember and are able to apply the content. So with all that, I don't think I'm overwhelmed. I did get a little bit of overwhelmed this past week, but that was because of like an external factor. I basically went to do my laundry. I was having some problems with my dryer and washer because I just got that installed this past weekend, and I ended up washing all my clothes, including my scrubs, including my sheets and those things, and I went to then triage the laundry wash to the dryer, and I was like taking things out, and I was like, why is my Apple Pencil in here? What? And then I realized, because sometimes I study on my bed or have my iPad on my bed, if I take my iPad pencil out, it's then in the sheets. And so I washed my iPencil. I always call it iPencil, I mean Apple Pencil. I washed my Apple Pencil, totally ruined it, and I had to get a new one. And here, since COVID is happening, the stores are closing earlier and earlier, and I couldn't get a new Apple Pencil for my next day's class. And so on Tuesday I kind of fell off, but made sure on Wednesday evening I got back on track. You know, I updated my Anki deck, so what I'm doing right now is using pre-made decks from upperclassmen and then adding things I think are not in that Anki deck. And then the following day I like to go on Anki walks, which is going to the gym over here in my apartment complex and just walk in and out, getting my Fitbit steps and doing some learning at the same time, reinforcing concepts and reinforcing information that I had learned in class the previous day. And so that's really working out for me, which is really nice. But I don't even know. I don't feel super overwhelmed because I am trying to stay on top of things. It's very easy to not stay on top of things, not only because like medical school you have options of staying home, but for me, because we do have to stay home. It is still a pandemic. Our school is having online classes. I guess you can say I'm Zoom University, but it's definitely different. I know I'm the type of person, if I need to study something, I need to get something done, I'll make sure it's done. I don't necessarily need to be sitting in school and doing the work, or I don't necessarily need to be like at my desk or at a desk in a library in a quiet place doing the work. I can put my earbuds in and just go for it. That's no problem for me. And so that's another part of learning how you study best, how you retain information, and where you actually need to be, because environmentally some things might trigger other people and might not trigger people. So in terms of getting acclimated to school and being in school, because I took 2 gap years, so I feel like I haven't been in school in a minute. It's interesting, but it's definitely doable, and I wanted to make this check-in to talk about my second week of medical school because it's here. I mean, I guess it's past now. This is a new journey for me, and I'm so excited to be on it, and I'm so happy that I'm able to, like, you know, talk about things that I'm doing right now in hopes that it might help someone. So with that being said, thanks again for watching this video. Follow me on Instagram. I post a bunch of things, and feel free to like and subscribe. I'm going to be posting a bunch more videos, whether it's vlogs, whether it's sit down talks like this. And yeah, thanks so much for watching.